what he wants so. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Lamar, is it surprising at this point that it feels like for a lot of people, got to get on the same page, got to get going in the same direction, but it's December and with all the talent and so many guys back, is it surprising to you that that's the case?
Yeah, I can say that. You know, we got new additions, we got D-Hop, guys like that on our team, and I don't think he came over here for us to be in this situation. You know, we known for winning, man, but I feel like this is just an adversity game, man. Right here, like this point of the season, you know, we got to just keep fighting and just keep God first.
Lamar, where would you say this team is at right now? You know, after this game, obviously dropping out of first place, just where are you guys at right now?
You know, we still got how many games left? Like four games left. You know, we still turning around, I believe. You know, this loss to, like I said, divisional opponent. It's a tough loss at that because I felt like we could have put more points on the board, you know, but unfortunately we didn't. And time ran out and those guys did what they were supposed to do.
Lamar, we saw you over in the corner there. How would you just kind of describe your level of frustration at this point?
Through the roof, man. We shouldn't. I feel like Thanksgiving game, we shouldn't have lost that game. You know, it was turnovers, unfortunately. But this one here is like, I don't know what happened.
It's Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson. My apologies. I don't know what's going on today. I don't like it, though. I guess maybe I needed tea and I didn't realize that I did. How about that? Yeah, that's Lamar Jackson after the Ravens lose the Steelers 27-22 yesterday in Baltimore.
Is that you requesting a tea?
I mean, I don't sound good. Like, I know that much. I did not feel this. That's the weird part. Like, I just started talking, and I was like, where's the rest of you? I guess I could, again, dig into my Scotty Farrell. Even that doesn't sound good today. Nothing's good. Nothing's good right now. Good morning. It is Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He is Griffin. The Ravens did lose 27-22. Thanks to everyone who hung out with us for Project Game Day. Apologies, we didn't have the whole crew together. We did have a cameo, however, from Mayor Brandon Scott, who was just as pissed off as we were about quite a few things in yesterday's game. Myself, Rita, KZ, Griffin were there. We'll have Tyus Bowser, Andrew Stecca back for this week, if it matters, as the Ravens will get try to salvage the season as they travel to Cincinnati next Sunday. Come hang out with us immediately following the game. PressBoxOnline.com/gameday. It's all brought to you by 1-800-GAMBLER, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, the Costas Inn and Live Casino and Hotel. We do it every game day all season long. PressBox's Project Game Day. We will see you next Sunday. Coming up on the program today, Brian Billick will join us. Obviously, he was back in town celebrating the 25th anniversary of Super Bowl XXXV. We'll talk to him a little bit about that, but obviously we will talk to him about what he saw and what in the world is going on. We'll also chat with former NFL referee Jim Dalpoulos a little bit later on. We know. And it's, as I said after the game yesterday, and if you missed Project Game Day, I'd encourage you to check it out a little bit later on today. It's a tricky conversation because I do think they absolutely got things wrong, like flatly wrong. Now, I understand. Like we can talk about the Isaiah Likely thing for an eternity. And the question is, was the call wrong? Is the rule wrong? Anyone with the brain says that's a touchdown. The way they're defending it is, the way the rule is written, that extension of the ball that we're all seeing as a football move happens before the two steps. And the way the rule is written, the football move must occur after the 2 steps. It's 2 steps, then football move. So the first thing to say is, well, that's insane. That rule is a problem. It makes 0 sense. If these are the 3 things you need to have a catch, he's done all of the 3 things. What order why does it matter what order they happened in? So there's a world where you could look at it and say, I think they got the call right, but the rule is wrong. But even within that, the wording of the rule says, or time to do such a thing, which is part of the nebulous problem of the way these rules are written. The rule is written just to make sure that we handle it, completing a catch. Rule 8, Section 1, Articles 3 and 4. Article 3, a player who makes a catch may advance the ball. A forward pass is complete by the offense or intercepted by the defense in the field of play, at the sideline, or in the end zone if a player who is in bounds, A, secures control of the ball in his hands or arms prior to the ball touching the ground, and B, touches the ground in bounds with both feet or any part of his body other than his hands, and C, after A and B have been fulfilled, which is the argument. The argument is, hey, when you're pointing out the extension of the ball, the extension happened before the 2 feet were down. C, after A and B have been fulfilled, clearly performs any act common to the game. Examples: extend the ball forward, take an additional step, tuck the ball away and turn upfield, or avoid or ward off an opponent. Or he maintains control of the ball long enough to do so. And in that wording, which of course is nebulous, and that's what makes it difficult, and in that wording, there's not a whole lot of gray area there to me to say, well, you can definitely tell he didn't have enough time to do that. Remember, of course, it was called a touchdown, and they went and reversed it, which would require them to know that Isaiah Likely didn't have enough time. He maintains control of the ball long enough to do so. It requires them to know that he couldn't have extended the ball, which there's no effing way to know that. Which is why, when you get the answers, and Jeff Zrebeck, who is the poll reporter, was the one who was able to ask the questions yesterday, and it was lengthy. Jeff Zrebeck spoke to NFL VP of Instant Replay Mark Butterworth for the poll report on reversal of likely catch. Quote, the 3rd step is an act common to the game, and before he could get the 3rd foot down, the ball was ripped out. Therefore, it was an incomplete pass. Again, that sounds smart. But as the rule is written, it doesn't require the 3rd step to get down. It just requires there to be enough time to do it. That's the way the rule's written. Now, you want to clean up that rule and say one of the 2 things. Either A, it doesn't matter what order you do it in. If you make a football move as any part of the process, then it's a catch. Or you want to clean it up and say, this is too difficult for us to figure out. It's going to have to be a 3rd step. Which, again, seems kind of silly considering, like, you only have to get 2 feet. If you're falling down, you'll have to get 2 feet in. You don't have to get a 3rd foot in. The reason why we know is we say, hey, well, falling down is like an act common to the game, right? Like, that's kind of a football move. You want to clean up the rule, clean up the rule. But to suggest definitively that he didn't have enough time to have made a football move is bullshit. There's no way of getting around that part. We're just picking and choosing which part of the rule makes the most sense in defense of calling it incomplete. There's no way. No way. As you see, the extension happens before the second foot. There's the first foot. Extension had already happened. Second foot. Now, if after that second foot the ball had been punched out immediately, you could make the argument there was no time for there to have been anything else that happened. But it's not. There's more time there. And again, as the rule is written, maintains control of the ball long enough to do so. The rule says you don't have to have done any of these things. Now, I'm fighting with the wrong people. Like, I'm fighting with the former officials who are obviously going to tell me they know more than I do. And they do. They, of course, do.
Do they?
And they're the ones that are tested on these things. Hey, we have to take tests. And the tests say this. If you see this, that's an incomplete pass. Well, the rule doesn't say that. The rule doesn't. It just says maintains control of the ball long enough to do so. That's it. And nothing about that play says he definitely, again, it's one thing if it's ruled incomplete on the field. Then you go back and look at it and say, we can't say for sure. But what you absolutely cannot do in replay is say definitively that he didn't have enough time to have made any other sort of football move. And the problem is, we do have to talk about it because it happened. And it does matter. And it's a mix. There's this mixed bag of what happened in yesterday's game. Because the Ravens themselves deserve the overwhelming majority of the blame. And bad calls, as we talk about constantly, overwhelmingly happen. Questionable to bad. No matter how many times Gene Steratore and Terry McAulay, maybe even Jim Dapoulos later, tell me that it was an incomplete pass, the rule's going to tell me otherwise. It's one of those weird, I know you know more than I do, and you're telling me why it was, but I'm telling you, y'all are interpreting the rule the wrong way. You're interpreting it a way other than the way the rule is written. But it doesn't mean that, the Ravens got screwed, they should have won. That's the end of the story. It's both things. And that's what makes the conversation difficult. As I said yesterday, it would be easier if the Ravens just got their ass kicked and were definitively out of, if the Steelers or Bengals had such a good record that we knew that they weren't, it's over. And then it would be easier to have the big picture conversations that everyone wants to have about who's going to get fired and all that sort of stuff. But that's not the reality. The reality is the division is terrible. And nothing about what I saw from the Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday suggests that the Pittsburgh Steelers will definitively win any of the rest of the games that they play either. I don't think the Ravens, it's insane to me that they're favored next week in Cincinnati. That's bat-ass.
Just because they have Lamar Jackson? Is that
essentially, but do they? Do they have Lamar Jackson? I mean, for moments yesterday, it looked like they had Lamar Jackson again, but only for moments. I don't think the Ravens deserve to be favored in any game they play, but I have no idea. The Steelers have the one advantage if they get to play the Browns one more time.
I don't know. Shador looked pretty good yesterday.
He did. They definitely look better. And inevitably, everybody in Pittsburgh would remind me, the Steelers are going to lose a game to the Browns. It's just what they do. But there's no world to me where they should deserve to be favored in any of their other. I mean, I guess because the Dolphins game is at home, they deserve to be favored in that game. But that by a point, I don't even know what the line is for that. The Steelers aren't good either. And so I can't declare this to be over. And I can't join you in the reacting as if the season was over. I don't think the Ravens are going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to lose on Sunday. I think. That line is so stupid that it definitely makes you think like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to.
It's 2.5 now. Ravens minus 2.5 in Cincinnati.
It's got to keep moving, right? Like it has to keep moving.
Oh gosh, they play the Dolphins on Monday night. The Steelers are 3.5-point favorites.
See, I think that's too. They don't deserve to be 3.5-point favorites. They deserve to be favored by like 1.5. On a neutral field right now, I'd take Miami over Pittsburgh. Like I've watched both of those teams, and I don't think Tua is playing well. It's
not doing anything actually. They're just handing it to their running
Devon
backs.
Achane, who's now what's a lot of us are nervous about the status of Devon Achane.
I might need him more than the Dolphins still.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
If you got to the playoffs.
Yeah, he said if apparently Achane, it was a rib injury, was available to return to the contest in an emergency.
Okay.
They were
Right.
up 30. They won 34-10.
If
so.
Devon Achane is available and healthy, then they shouldn't be 3.5-point favorites. The Dolphins have just been playing really good football right now, and the Steelers overwhelmingly have not. And that's the problem. The problem is we want to fast forward to the end of the season and have those conversations, and we're not quite there yet. But I get it. There's nothing about this team. This is even if by some miracle they were to get in, they're not good. I understand that. We're just trying to speed up the process. And I'm telling you, there's plenty of time for those conversations to be had.
So should the conversation be, should they want to lose so we can get a higher draft pick? Is that where we're at? We're not there yet.
No, this is a complicated conversation. I've done this before.
Because once they're in,
right, you want them to win.
yeah.
Like I don't know what the point of fandom is. I don't understand it. And by some of this is just how poisoned we've been by social media and by like we operate as a society like it's more important than that we be right. Whatever cred we think we get on the internet from that, which by the way is zero. No one remembers your takes. You get nothing for them. It is some twisted ego nonsense that has poisoned us. You know how many dollars I got for reminding everybody on Saturday night they weren't leaving the ACC out of the college football playoff? You know how many dollars I get for the fact that I was right about that? Because it rhymes with zero. Because it's zero. But this is, it's ugly. We say things, I'd rather the team lose because we just want to be right. We want to feel like we're right. It's sick. I mean, it really is. Like, we seek help. There's something going on with you. We got to touch grass. If the Ravens are playing and still have a chance, then I want them to win. As I said before, the year that Joe Flacco got hurt, and my God, Jimmy Clausen was playing quarterback, I had no problem saying I preferred that the Ravens lost. Now, that didn't mean I was rooting against them. It didn't mean I was sitting at home cursing when the mustard pants were beating the Steelers. It was I preferred the result to be a loss because they were done. And when they're out of it and done, and we've done this with the Orioles in recent years, absolutely. But when they have a chance, and I understand what you're saying is, but they don't really have a chance. I get it. If for some reason they were to go beat the Patriots and the Packers, we wouldn't feel that way anymore, would we? If they beat the best teams in the NFL, we'd suddenly say, maybe they're capable of beating the best teams in the NFL. And I don't think they will. Like, I get it. But this notion of just pretending like they shouldn't play the games or like it's bizarre. It really is sick. So we'll have time for those conversations. And we'll have them. It's non-zero. By the way, we're having some conversations around here because, we do like an annual best of issue of Press Box at the end of the year. We normally put somebody on the cover of it that's the Mo Gabba Sports Person of the Year. And, we have to talk about some of the things that we're doing. And is it possible the Ravens are going to finish the season on a 6-game losing streak? And the answer is, yes, it's possible. It's quite possible. And if they do, then as I said last night, I don't know how anyone survives that. Now, to be fair, that happened, in Philadelphia a couple years ago, and then a year later they won a Super Bowl. So I just don't think that this is an apples to apples.
Is the way they're exactly.
That's what
they're
you
doing
have
exactly
to do. You got to
what
go through this to
they
set
needed,
yourself
yeah.
up for next year.
They're right where they want to be.
Maybe. I'm also confused by why they looked inept offensively for the first half and then suddenly looked pretty competent. I mean, obviously the offensive line remained an issue in the second half, but they started to run the ball. I do think the Keaton Mitchell injury was killer. Like, I think if Keaton Mitchell doesn't leave the game, they win that game.
If he doesn't get injured on that play, does he score on that play?
I don't know. The angle was pretty good to get him.
Yeah.
Like, I get that, like, you think it might have slowed him down a little bit, but I think the angle was always going to. Like,
well, it looked like, I mean, I don't know. It just looked like he slowed down mid-run.
Okay,
You're saying. Even if he had.
I think that always, before the end zone, they were going to get him. And like, they did end up scoring a touchdown on that. Yeah. So it kind of doesn't matter all that much. I just think that if Keaton Mitchell stays in that game, it adds a layer of dynamicism that they just don't have with Rasheen Ali. Bless him. Swell fella. But not Keaton Mitchell. So I don't know how to make sense. Like, there's a small part of me. It's funny because we always like to make comparisons to what happened in 2012. And remember, the Ravens looked like a mess in 2012, right up until they played a good Giants team. And all of a sudden we were like, maybe they do still know how to football. Like, maybe it's there. And for moments in the second half, like, the offense looked irreparably broken in the first half. It just looked panicked. It looked incapable. That the limitations that they were dealing with Lamar, like, they had no ability to overcome them. And even down 2 scores, to their credit, they didn't get away from running the ball. They ran the ball down 2 scores, which is the thing we always yell about. And they looked like a Ravens offense. Rashad Bateman had a really bad drop. Really bad. Could the ball have been thrown better? Sure, but it was a really bad drop. The Isaiah Likely thing was what it was. And all of a sudden, a functional, well-moving offense just can't get over the hump. And look, man, nobody nearly makes plays quite like the Baltimore Ravens. Like, no one nearly makes game-changing plays the way the Baltimore Ravens nearly make game-changing plays. And obviously, Isaiah Likely with many of them, but, Zay Flowers against the Chiefs. It's not just Isaiah Likely. Mark Andrews a year ago.
That's why it makes no sense. That it's a different guy every week. It doesn't rise to the occasion.
It's just always something, right? It's just always something. And again, do you want to blame coaching for that? Like, sure, blame coaching for it. But do you think that the coaches are telling Rashad Bateman, like, don't worry about catching the football, be thinking about turning upfield, and forget that you have to catch the ball in the process? Like, do you think they don't coach that? I don't know, man. And, like, I feel bad piling on Rashad Bateman because, as I said before, I don't think Rashad Bateman's a problem for this football team, but, like, he has to catch that ball yesterday. He has to. That's 4 points. If they get those 4 points, then do they need a touchdown?
They don't need a touchdown.
They don't need a touchdown.
No, they don't.
Well, at least we know the kicker will definitely make the kick. At least we know that.
He's made. I know we talked about. He has missed a field goal. One of the 50-yarders.
He's missed 2 50-plus.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
He's missed 2 extra points.
It's all bad. It's just all bad, man. And it is easier. It's funny because Rita and I were going back and forth. Like, she was. Rita's doing the coping mechanism while telling me I'm doing a coping. My entire point is I think the Ravens are bad. I also think the division is so bad that I can't declare them out, which is the most practical thing I could possibly say. This is a bad football team. There's other bad football teams. If the Ravens somehow go to Cincinnati and beat the Bengals, and while I don't expect them to, I also can't tell you they can't, because that would require me to, say that I know the Bengals are going to be good. And as we were reminded, a defense that gets 5 turnovers in one game isn't just going to be great every game. That's just the reality.
They did force another goal line fumble.
They did get that. You're right. They did get one more. DJ Turner made a really nice play. But they also gave up a boatload of points yesterday. And I don't know. Maybe the Ravens will just go out to Cincinnati and get their asses handed to them by the Bengals, but I don't know that. And if they go out and win and the Steelers lose the Dolphins, then we're having another conversation all over again. That's the reality. I can't just skip ahead to the part where we fire the coach. And as I said yesterday, to me, getting your ass kicked by Aaron Rodgers at home is a fireable offense. And if this does spiral the way that it looks like, I don't even know how it's argued. I don't know how, with a straight face, anyone could say, yeah, they lost 6 straight down the stretch, but gee gosh golly, just got to give them another chance. I don't know how that's possible. But I got to let it play out. I gotta, before we do that. As of today, if you ask me, what do you think is going to happen? I would tell you, I think the Ravens are going to fall short of the playoffs, and then I think they should fire at least the coaching staff. And have a conversation about the front office. I don't think they should rip it all apart, but that's my, you ask me to predict the future, that's what I think. What will they do? I have no idea. They don't like firing coaches. So you made me bet. I'd say probably not. But if they lose all 6, I just don't know how you can't. Even if you lose to 5, imagine they win 1 game but lose 5 out of 6 down the stretch. I don't know how you do that. We'll get there. There'll be time for that. In the meantime, we're going to talk about how the special teams stink. Stink. Other than Jordan Stout, who's not been the problem. We're going to talk about how impossible it is that they just keep trotting the same 2 guards out there every week. We'll talk about all those things until the season's over, and then we'll have those conversations. We come back in, a man who knows a thing or two about being fired as a head coach. Brian Billick was back in town celebrating the anniversary of Super Bowl XXXV. He'll join us next. It is a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Get in the game with Volo Sports. With over 15 sports to choose from, join a league or grab a Volo membership for discounted play, free daily pickups, fitness classes, and exclusive events. But the best part? A portion of every league fee helps the Volo Kids Foundation provide free sports to over 5,000 kids across Baltimore City each year. Don't miss out. Early pricing for the winter season ends December 12th. Final registration deadline is January 15th. Sign up now at volosports.com/Baltimore.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Don Marcus profiles new Maryland Athletic Director Jim Smith, breaking down the challenge he faces in his new role and the unique background he brings to the job. Also inside, Brandon Schwartzberg takes an in-depth look at Orioles outfielder Dylan Beavers. And we meet college basketball players from all the programs around the state before the season gets underway. Press Box is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region. And starting this month, you can find us at Baltimore area High's Dairy Store locations. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Get ready to hit the ultimate holiday jackpot at Live Casino during the live-action $1 million giveaway. Every Friday through December 26th, we'll draw 25 lucky cash winners, but only one winner each Friday will advance to the final rounds on December 26th, where you could win $1 million in just 3 spins. Come make your million, only at Live Casino. At Erndale Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, we're going to start getting pissed off. Y'all are coming up short for me. Y'all are coming up short. I need you to get into our Bowl Pick'em contest. Period. And I need you to tell people and ask other people to get into the Bowl Pick'em. I need you to, share about it, post about it, do all of those things. Ask your friends. Get other people to sign up for the Bowl Pick'em. We're trying to get it up to 50. If we get it up to 50, that means $500 for helping up mission. It's very simple. $20 buy-in, half the pot to the winner, half the pot goes to the needs of the Helping Up mission this holiday season. So get on it. Glenn Clark on Venmo, Glenn Clark 180 on PayPal, Glenn Clark Radio on Cash App, $20. Get it in. As soon as you do, I'll send you the link. The bowls are live. Were they still looking for one more team that would play in a bowl game? Did I see that last night?
I don't know. They were looking for
because
10
three teams all bailed.
You think maybe Maryland?
I don't think so.
Come on.
I'd be surprised. But yeah, get in. We want to take care of the folks at Helping Up Mission. They need warm stuff this holiday season, and this is a great way for you to do it, and potentially also win some money. You could win $500 in the process, but we got to fill this up. Our charity bowl pick'em to benefit Helping Up Mission. Get in today. If you have any questions, hit me up on Twitter at Glenn Clark Radio. Our next guest was back in town yesterday celebrating 25 years since the Super Bowl XXXV title. It is always a pleasure to welcome back our friend, Coach Brian Billick, to the program. Coach, it's Glenn. It's great to catch up as always. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning.
Yeah, glad to do it.
Other than the result of the football game, the weekend, I saw a lot of pictures. I know that these things are special to you guys. What was it like? Tell me about how the entire weekend went.
Well, it was fabulous. I mean, everything. The Ravens just absolutely first class in terms of the way and just so appreciated in terms of the way they keep the connection between the former players and coaches, administrators, and keeping them active and interactive with the fans. And it was just, like you said, minus the outcome of the game, just a great weekend. Great to see everybody come back. And, it's sobering when you think 25 years. Of course, when I come back and I see all these guys, I think, God dang, how old am I? Because these guys look old, But it all in great shape, and great to see them and the coaches, and just a phenomenal weekend.
Who's the star when you guys get together? Because it would have been Goose in the past, I assume. So who takes over the role of being the loudest in the room now?
I don't know. They've all kind of grown older and more mature. So like I said the other day, that group had a lot of characters, but they also had a lot of character. So, but it is fun to watch how when they get back together, they immediately pick up on, busting on one another and getting after one another for whatever it is they want to. But it's great fun to do that.
Coach, I know a few of the interviews that you've done surrounding this, you've been asked a lot about adversity, because we all remember what that team went through and going a month plus without scoring a touchdown. And how you handle it. And, of course, we're seeing what this current Ravens team is doing or going through adversity-wise. I wonder, like, can you take me back to what that looked like internally? And is it a meeting? Is it we've got to do something to acknowledge the elephant in the room? Or is it as simple as just, like, these guys are adults, they know what's going on, they don't need me to play any sort of games to try to work them through it? And how do you compare it to what you see from the Ravens at the moment?
Well, anytime any team goes through adversity, and you're seeing it around the league, particularly in the AFC, but every team, that should be the exciting thing for the Ravens fans, as difficult as it is right now after a loss to the Steelers. It's still right there because everybody's dealing with the same thing. There is no dominant AFC team. And the path is very clear for the Ravens. It's all about you got to win the division. And fortunately, your biggest rival, even though you lost to it yesterday, there's a lot of football left to play. And yeah, the team meeting and all that, those are useless. All that is a bunch of jumping up on the soapbox and saying, I confess he did it. I've never seen that anything good come out of something like that. But it is more a day-to-day, player by player, coach to coach, interaction with one another, supporting one another, not turning on one another, and going, we can still do this. And that's the thing they have to grasp. Once we came out of that tough month in October and started to get on a roll, having faced the crucible of where most teams would have fallen apart, that team did not. They stuck together. And in doing so, gained a strength, because every opponent we played from that point on, it was, hey, we don't care what happens. We've stood at the abyss. We've already fought through this. We're not going to fall apart. And it buoyed us all the way through the next 11 games and winning the Super Bowl. So this team is capable of doing that, if for no other reason, even though obviously there's difficulties they're going through it, and strategically and tactically some things have got to get better. They're as good as anybody in the AFC right now. And that goal for them to get to the playoffs and then use that pedigree to make that run, they're as capable as any team in the AFC right now.
Brian Billick is with us here on GCR. Coach, why do you believe that? Because I think a lot of people would hear you say that and say, yeah, the team that we've seen the last couple of weeks, the offense that hasn't looked right, the defense that couldn't stop a 42-year-old quarterback, like why do you believe they're still as good as any team in the AFC?
And this is not to say because they're just that good, because clearly they've got some things that they've got to continue to prove on and got to play better, but mainly because the rest of the league is in the exact same situation. I can make this case 4 or 5 points for any of the top teams as to why they're going to win a Super Bowl, and I can give you 4 or 5 reasons why they're just not going to get there. Whether it's the secondary in Buffalo and some of the struggles they've had in Kansas City. Clearly, they're not as explosive. Their defense has given up a lot in the running game. Pittsburgh, obviously, they're on that cusp of it, and we saw some very good things from Pittsburgh. But we've also seen they're just coming off a week where they were at one another, and boy, that 40-year-old quarterback doesn't seem to be playing well, and the defense has given up too many big plays. New England seems to be the only team right now that doesn't have, that have been able to keep the consistency. So that group probably is one that is an outlier. But everybody else in the league is in the exact same position. So the talent's there in Baltimore. If they'll just kind of keep their focus, and I know they will, and keep working through it. I mean, they ran the ball for over 200 yards the other day. Clearly Lamar, the biggest thing that's missing from my layman's perspective from watching from the outside, clearly Lamar isn't what he has been in the past. That injury is still, we're not getting those major big plays with his legs that we typically see. That has always been the big difference in them, being a dominant team and being on the winning edge. They had one explosive play to Zane Flowers compared to Pittsburgh that had 3 plays of over 4 plays over 20 yards. And previous to that, they've been struggling with coming up with the big plays. So that clearly, if you look at the game, the turnover, the lack of big plays, it's real easy to see why, and it was a close game, 27-22. If you can generate some more of the big plays, I don't know that Lamar is going to all of a sudden feel hell. I mean, you really don't get over a hamstring until the season is over. So this is probably what we're going to get out of Lamar, even though he can run around and certainly make some plays. He's not making those huge, big plays that we're used to seeing because clearly I don't know that he's 100% healthy.
That part is the weird part. By the way, I am giggling at you calling yourself a layperson, Coach. Like, come on. I appreciate the humility.
Ask anybody there. I mean, that's why you ran me out of town. I obviously didn't know what I was talking about.
But I say that all to say, like, as crazy as it is, like, I actually, as the game went on yesterday, started to think that I was seeing a little bit more of that version of Lamar Jackson. Like, he started to feel a little bit more comfortable, and I still think the offensive line is a major concern, and I don't know at this point how they can overcome it because, you're 13 games into the season. It feels like you kind of have your answer there, but did you see a little bit of signs of, like, maybe that version of Lamar Jackson could still be there down the stretch?
Sure. When that next to last possession, when it was 27-22, and they go on that 12-play 70-yard drive, you saw they've reset. Lamar stepped up, made a couple plays with his legs, got the ball down the field. They had to go for it on fourth down, and that with all the questionable call and all that, I get that. But they showed, we are capable. And did anybody not think, okay, they're going to pull this out and go the length of field and drive. And even after then they, had to punt and went or lost on downs, and the Steelers went 3 and out with a minute 56 left, that they could still make this happen. So that perspective is there. They probably believed they could do it. And the outcome really doesn't change that. They certainly have the talent with their ability to run the ball. The defense is still – people are still struggling to run the ball against the Ravens, which is a good thing. They've given up clearly in that game they gave up too many big plays, but that's easier to address than the problem that Pittsburgh has right now, in that the Ravens ran for over 200 yards. That's a tougher. Okay, how do we fix that? In terms of getting up big plays, there's certain things you can do strategically, tactically, to say, okay, we're gonna configure ourselves not to leave ourselves vulnerable that way. And that's a lot easier fix.
Coach, you mentioned the way that it ended for you. As you know, there was a lot of conversation last week about both coaches involved in this game. And I wonder what you make of that argument that at some point it might just be time. That's just the way that the league works, that at some point it's just time to move on. It's time to do. The Ravens and Steelers get a lot of credit for the fact that they don't overreact, and they don't, like, continuity is a word we throw around a lot when it comes to those two organizations. And as you remind people all the time, the Ravens sort of modeled themselves after the Steelers that way. But is there anything to the argument for either one of these franchises that maybe at some point there might just be a need for change and new voices?
Well, that's a legitimate argument in general. I mean, first you got to begin with the point that it doesn't matter whether it's John or whether it's Mike Tomlin. You can change the coach. You're not going to get a better coach than those two. You can get a different coach with a different voice, and yes, sometimes an organization, and it's less really to do with the players than it does, the organization, the ownership, the fans. Yeah, sometimes you just the message. It's hard to keep the message fresh enough. Clearly, the capability of doing a good job in coaching a team is obvious. It's indisputable. But, and that goes for those individuals as well. It may be for them. It might be a good, healthy thing, just like it was for Andy Reid, that had all the success in Philadelphia, and they and had a great affinity for the organization and them for him, but decided, maybe just sometimes you just need that change. And both Mike and John, if they decide that or their organizations decide it, they'll both have a job about 10 minutes after that happens.
Sure.
But then you got to go about finding, okay, that's, Now it's like giving up on a quarterback or cutting your quarterback and or not paying the quarterback. Okay, that's and for legitimate reasons. Okay, then it's, well, what's next? And how are you going to replace him? Mm-hmm. And the chances of getting as good a quarterback or as good a coach are statistically not as good. So those are all things that have to factor into it.
It's interesting. And what about the argument that some people make about firing a coordinator? John did this, right? And it worked out in 2012.
No, you don't.
Okay.
All you're doing is kind of relieving a pressure point.
Okay.
And I've done it. I understand the mentality in it. Or sometimes you just have to create that fresh. But at the end of the day, it still comes back to the head coach, and because you could, okay, go ahead and you fire a coordinator, yeah, but let's remember that you're the one that hired that guy.
Right.
Now you're going to hire the next guy.
Yep.
So you can make that argument. So yeah, it's understandable. It's part of the league, and it happens. I get it, but and if that's the changes they want to make, as opposed to with the head coaches, which you certainly understand, because like I said, you got to think long and hard before you let two outstanding coaches like Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh go. Okay, yeah, maybe you do make some changes at the quarterback or the coordinator position, and maybe that creates a certain energy. At the end of the day, all it means is, so that guy coming back next year is going to have a healthier and maybe better team. But you could make the same case for, the current coordinator. You give him that healthy team and a couple better athletes, maybe he'll do as good a job.
Coach, I know you're typically involved with something. I feel like every time we've ever talked over the years, you were involved with, pads or something in the world. Is there anything that you're involved with right now that we can get a plug in for?
Just trying to improve my putting. My golf game. If I could just get myself down to under 40 putts somehow on around, life would be good. But no, I appreciate you asking. Of course, still have the X-Tech pads, which is going gangbusters. We're actually getting into the youth pads this off season going into next year. So I'm excited about that the young people are going to have a chance to wear these great pads that leads that everybody in the NFL is wearing and everybody major college football, and so. I'm excited about that, but we'll crank that up when time comes in the summer.
Now, look, always appreciate you taking the time for us. It was awesome to see you back, and I appreciate that you get to feel the love. I know every coach goes through this where for a moment the love's not there, and I appreciate that you get to feel the love from this fan base and how truly revered you will forever be for the things that team did. Coach, always appreciate you. Let's catch up again real soon, all right?
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Brian Billick with us here on GCR. Appreciate him taking the time as always. Oh, that's Ron, isn't it? Damn it. We had to move some things around, by the way, from the original schedule on the program. Jim Dowpolis is not going to be able to join us right now, and we will connect with him. Instead, Tracy Wolfson offered to check in with us, and we love Tracy Wolfson, so we were more than happy to do that. But we did tell our buddy Ron and Owings Mills that he could call in. We screwed up. We screwed up. And by we I mean we, right? Because I didn't think of it either. And you guys know that I love to pile on Griffin when something's Griffin's fault. But I am a man. I can be fair. This is not just Griffin's fault. I could have said, "Hey, did you remember to call Ron?" I didn't do that. That's my fault too. So I'll take some blame as well. I am nothing if not benevolent. I'm not going to be benevolent about you guys in this bowl pick'em, though. Fill it! I'm going to freaking scream at you all week long. Scream at you. But that's the way that it's going to go. All right. We continue along on a Monday edition of the program. And our next guest was, of course, working the broadcast yesterday. As the Ravens fell to the Steelers, she was down on the sidelines for CBS. She is our friend Tracy Wolfson, and it's always great to have her back here on GCR. Tracy, it's great to catch up with you. Thank you for taking the time for us, as always.
Thank you for having me. Sorry about that loss.
Oh, man, Tracy. It's not just that. It's like I know that Gene explained it, and I understand that he knows the rules better than I do, but I still keep reading this rule and saying – or there enough time, or enough time to do so. And I keep saying to myself, look, man, I know there are other things. This isn't the reason why the Ravens lost. Like, I'm not that guy. But you can't tell me definitively that you can look at that on a replay and say that Isaiah Likely didn't have enough time to make a football move. I can't believe that that's the ruling that you come up with in that moment. Like, that's a touchdown.
I know. It's so frustrating when you walk away from these games and can pinpoint a few things that could have gone your way and changed everything maybe. You don't know, right? But you put yourself in position that those, little moments do matter. And I got to be honest, I walked away and a bunch of us walked away talking about it afterwards as we headed to the train station to head home and kind of said the same thing. I mean, you understand, and Gene explained it so well, and he's so good at what he does. And look, he's going by the rules, and the rules just don't make sense there, to be honest. I mean, I was saying, you can cross a plane with the ball, and that's okay, and you're in for a touchdown, but you have to take, 3 steps or make a football move. And, maybe if he held it into his chest, it would have been different, but he was holding it out. Who knows, right? I mean, we can go back over it and over it, but ultimately, in the end, they made that call. And look, it happens, every week, to every team at one point or another, and it's hard to live with, but, that's the case.
Here's my big picture question, Tracy, because it's easy to look at the Ravens at 6-7 and given the schedule that's ahead and how disappointing they've been offensively since Lamar Jackson's return and say it's just not happening. It's just not happening for them. At the same time, no one's really all that enamored with the Steelers. Nobody's really that.
Of course.
The Bengals' reality is almost impossible at this point. Like, where is the line between it's just kind of broken for the Ravens, it's not working, and but it's not done yet either?
Yeah, it's hard to wrap your head around, right? This isn't the best year for the AFC North, we can tell you that. But, I mean, I think your goal is just to get in and then see what happens, right? You get out of the conference, you play teams, maybe you haven't seen, depending. I mean, you're going to see the Patriots. You're going to see certainly, I don't even remember who else. You played the Bills earlier in the year, right?
It's brutal. Like, the schedule's brutal. It's at Cincinnati, at Pittsburgh, and Green Bay and New England. Like, it is brutal.
No, it's a brutal schedule going forward. I'm saying if you just got yourself into the dance, you may have the opportunity there. Yep. Yeah, that's the issue down the stretch of this season. When you look at your schedule compared to the Steelers and even compared to the Bengals, which kind of need, really a miracle to get in, it's hard to see, a path there. But, watching this team, watching the Ravens, it just seems off, disconnected. You talked about the return from, Lamar doesn't look healthy. He's still putting that heating pad on his hamstring, which makes you think he's fully not over it. He seems a little cautious, and the offensive line and him, it doesn't seem to be working, right? And then, not that, look, Keaton Mitchell's a big part. He goes out early in that game.
No doubt.
So then it all relies on Derrick Henry and Ali, and Ali's not the guy, he's usually that third down guy or a blocker, helps him pass pro. And then it just looks off, right? And you're just waiting for it to click. And I thought, being at home, seeing Lamar have, another, maybe another week to get healthy, although he missed a day and a half of practice. Like, how good is that for the continuity on this offense? If your, quarterback is missing a day and a half of practice, that's a big thing that stands out as well. And certainly the mistakes and the turnovers in crucial moments, are hurting the team. So, look, we said, this Steelers team has so many flaws also, right? How sustainable is that going to be? They looked good yesterday with those deep passes, but, they've certainly got their flaws as well. So, I don't know. It's anyone's for the taking. There's still a lot of, 4 more games left to play. 5, right? 4 or 5.
4, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know what.
I know.
I wish I had the answers
Tracy,
for you. It's a
you're saying all the same
year
things
in
we're
the
saying.
AFC, I got to tell you that.
There's no doubt. Tracy Wolfson is with us here on GCR. Tracy, you bring up the offensive issues, and I know you reported on something that you had seen during yesterday's game. I do want to make sure that I clarify, because I felt that what you were saying wasn't that Lamar was necessarily like screaming at Daniel Faalele or blaming him, but the internet seemed to run with that. So I wanted to let you sort of explain, because it did not sound like that to me in the way that you were saying.
Yeah, look, we get snippets. We can see and only report what we hear, right? Certain things. We can't report everything. That is not, our role. And, but it was just communication, right? Just conversation between Lamar and look, Lamar rarely gets up and talk. It was Faalele that came over to him. Lamar rarely gets up and interacts, and a lot of the quarterbacks do that, by the way. They sit by themselves, they do their thing. And then there's other quarterbacks, who get up and go over and talk to their line and their wide receivers and running backs and are really involved. It's just the personalities of the quarterbacks. But Faalele felt like he had to come over and explain what was happening, felt like they saw something. And so, yes, I think it was misconstrued, that report, and I apologize if it came off that way. But it was just more along the lines of they're trying to figure something out here, right? They know something is off, and how can they fix it before it gets worse? And that was early in the game. And so I do still think there is, it does seem there is some disconnect or, I don't really know. Like I said, it's one game, but there's definitely something off. With the offense. And it could just be, Lamar not feeling like Lamar.
I feel like someone would say, well, I would like the idea of my quarterback getting after his guys, right? Like that, I don't know. There's some old school mentality of that. Did you see any of that, any of him, trying to get after guys like at all? Like, I don't even know what that would mean if you did, but I just want to ask that question.
Yeah, you rarely see quarterbacks get after guys, you know what I mean? Because, that shows certainly, it shows frustration, but it also shows kind of a lack of trust or camaraderie, continuity amongst everyone in the offense, right? You all want to work together. There's times where you go over and someone says, my bad, or what did you see, or next time do this, or there's teaching moments, right, when you get these veteran quarterbacks, young wide receivers or running backs. No doubt. I think you could flip to the other sideline and see Aaron Rodgers. He's doing, he's not doing that all game, by the way, but there'll be a moment where he gets up, has a conversation maybe with Adam Thielen, who just arrived, right, or DK, who's still, new to the team, or a young guy, and say, look, you had to go here. Like, this is what we're trying to do. Lamar doesn't do that, but like I said, there are so many quarterbacks in the league that sometimes you do want to just see some sort of leadership on the sideline, something to get guys going.
Right.
But you're more often than not, I will tell you that teams don't have that. And when the teams that do, and when you see it on both sides of the ball, and you see it working on both sides of the ball, usually are the ones that are the most successful teams. And I remember a long time ago, it was Derek Carr with the Raiders before he got hurt, and they were on that playoff path. That team just seemed to have it. You stood back and you watched, and you were like, oh, they got it. Like, you could feel it. And then he gets hurt, and, it didn't turn out that way. The Chiefs, and, I know everyone always brings up the Chiefs. You watch them on both sides, certainly not this year. This year it's been a struggle, but you watch them on both sides of the ball, and they, when they're rolling, they've got it. You feel that. You walk away from a game and you feel that. Doesn't mean it's going to be that way the whole season long, by the way.
Right.
But and not that I felt it on either sideline this week, so it wasn't like, oh, the Steelers, had it. They've got their struggles also. So, but it was, you just you want to see a little bit more of like, hey, come on, guys, let's do this. Let's get this fixed. Let's, let's get going here.
Yeah.
And there really wasn't any of that on the sidelines.
I wonder what that's like when you guys have your meetings too. Like, do you sense that they're almost like it could just click this week? Like it could just maybe today's the day where it's all going to work again and we're going to be the Ravens once more. Because I do think that one of the things that I've gotten from this team is an amount of shock at the fact that they're in the position that they're in.
I really do think it stems from Lamar's health. We saw them. Actually, it was the game that he got hurt, but I just feel like he hasn't seen the same, a little tentative in the pocket, or, when the defense is coming after him, quick to get rid of it. Just doesn't seem, we saw flashes of it, right? And Tony even mentioned it. There's vintage Lamar.
Yep,
like, he's
100%,
back.
yeah.
Right? But then all of a sudden, something happens and he's not 100% there. And I think that's where you see it. And you talked about our meetings, and, I'll tell you what, talking to the Steelers and talking to Aaron Rodgers and knowing they were making that switch with the wide receivers and going with some of the veterans and coming off the practice that they had, I mean, you felt it. You felt like they believed that they were going into this game. They had a game plan. They knew their backs were against the wall. They were embarrassed by last week with the fire Tomlin and everything. And they made this change. And Aaron Rodgers said to us in that meeting right away, we had the best practice we maybe had all season long. The energy was on a different level. And that carries over, and it showed. And it showed in that first drive of the game. Right? You didn't get that necessarily from Baltimore going into this week.
That's really interesting. We'll see. They're running out of time to find that. Clearly, it's going to have to be about now. Tracy, where
it is a wild and wacky season. I can tell you that. We have, normally we have an idea of where are we going to be and what teams are recovering and, how's this playoffs going to shake out? I mean, it's going to come down to week 18 and who knows, right? Who knows what's going to happen once everyone gets into the playoffs either. It should be interesting.
Where are you all next week?
We actually have a really incredible game between Denver and Green Bay.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got
really
two
good.
top teams. Yeah, the weird thing is, there's the Bills-Patriots game, which is huge. That's on our air as well. I think the Chiefs play the Chargers, if I'm correct. That's on our air. So you talk about, but this game, it's strange because it's not AFC, right? You're getting two teams atop their divisions, but in separate conferences. So it's definitely unique for us to have that this late in the season, but certainly both teams playing really good football. We had Green Bay week 1, so looking forward to seeing them, going into this weekend as well.
The proverbial potential Super Bowl preview at Tracy.
Could be.
I mean, they look really good. At Tracy Wolfson is how you follow her. Tracy, always appreciate you do this every time, and it's very kind of you to take the time for us. Thanks so much for hopping on. Happy holidays to you. Let's talk again real soon, all right?
My pleasure. Have a good one.
That's Tracy Wolfson with us here on GCR this morning. And, yeah, I admittedly somebody's going to say, well, you asked that in a leading way. I did because I thought y'all were nuts with the way that you were running with that yesterday. Like, the way that it was – I know we want it to be that Lamar Jackson was screaming at Daniel Faalele on the sideline.
I have it.
Do you have it? You can go ahead. That's fine. Like, nothing that she actually said suggested that was what was occurring. I understand why you want that to be what Tracy Wolfson said. This is from CBS yesterday.
Jim, some frustration brewing on the Ravens sideline after that interception. Lamar threw his helmet. He then had a talk with right guard Daniel Faalele, who said they know it's coming every time. And then Zay Flowers came over as well, added to the discussion. It's just all hands on deck to try to get this offense going, guys.
Nothing in there says Lamar's screaming at Daniel Faalele and saying it's your fault.
I mean, I took it the same way in real time, knowing that it wasn't Lamar screaming at Faalele, but just hearing that, I was like, yes.
Yeah, you just want – I understand the feeling of I want someone to be pissed off. Somebody brought that up earlier when we played that clip of Lamar from after the game. Like, he's not pissed off enough. You want him to be angrier. And I understand that feeling. I do get it. Is it going to make anything different? No, probably not. But I understand this is just don't gaslight me, bro. Like, that's what we want. Don't give me something that makes me believe that that it sucks. And so you want somebody to yell. And to be fair, she did say that Lamar was being demonstrative, like by throwing his helmet and all that. But just not like the way
not like he came over and said 77.
Yeah, it's all your fault. You suck. It's that if that's what you wanted, that's not what
even close.
Yeah. And the report didn't suggest that. It got twisted on the internet because it involved Lamar Jackson being heated and Daniel Faalele. It had those elements, so we twisted it to make it so that he was demonstrative towards Daniel Faalele. It's just not actually what was said. So there you have the confirmation from Tracy Wolfson that that's not what was going on. All right, Ron is in Owings Mills. I can only imagine how this is going to go. Ron?
He's not very happy on that.
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, definitely some questionable calls that the fans will talk about. That's fine. You can't show up in the first half of an NFL game, once every month. You're allowed to play in the first half. You do know that, Glenn.
I am aware of that. I am aware that, like, the offense did not get going.
Yeah, I mean, so Lamar was throwing to Hopkins on the 4th and 2. Baldinger had a video on Twitter. He was clearly throwing that to Hopkins. Andrews just jumped it. The special teams penalty killed them on that last drive. They would have had the ball at the 44. Everybody calling the Bateman drop a drop. It was a drop. Of course, a receiver should catch that ball. I thought Lamar could have thrown a better ball. I'm getting criticized on Twitter about that. I don't care. I saw the replay a billion times. Lamar could have thrown a little bit better ball. The terrible pick to the cousin, unacceptable. Glenn, I'm fine with to lose to them the way we did against Tomlin, against that team, with all the Steelers fans wanting to lose that game for the same reason I wanted us to lose this game. It was a beautiful thing. Now what we have to do is, I think if we get blown out by Cincy and we just bottom out, now we can all finally get under from this thing and rebuild this program the right way with a new head coach.
Ron, this is where, so this is the problem, right? Like, and I love you, right? Like, you understand that. Like, you are like, in a way, a cousin to me. Like, we're gonna disagree, and I'm gonna love you. All right, like, that's the way that this goes. Sure. I understand your feeling, but my question is, what is the point of being a fan if you're openly desiring to see them lose? What is the point of being a
I'm going to tell you. That's a great question. I've asked myself that question many times. I've asked myself, because is that right to do that when you're a fan? Mm-hmm. And you know what I'll say? I did it with Turgeon late at the end. What I would say to that question is, I do not believe this team. Sure, anything could happen. We could play that game. I don't believe. I know in my heart I've watched enough football. Sure, miracles can happen. I don't believe this current team is good enough to win a championship.
And I agree with
season.
You. I agree with you.
Yes.
But until it's done, I can't.
No. See, you can't just be in the middle and say, oh, let's hope. You have to take a side. I'm taking a side that a lot of people don't want to take.
Wait. Why do I have to, when you say you have to take a side, says who? Like,
you have to take a side. That's how sports work. You either are A or B. You're not in the middle and just let it play out. That's the easy way.
No, this is the damaging thing that stupid Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith have done to us that make you believe that. I don't have to take a side. I can say, Ron, here's what, and this is exactly the way that I say it.
Go ahead.
I don't think the Ravens are good enough. I don't think they're going to win. I don't think they're going to get to the playoffs. I certainly don't think if they got to the playoffs, they're going to win a Super Bowl. I think they're a bad football team, and I think we're going to have those conversations. But for this week, I want them to go beat the Bengals because I want Lamar Jackson to be Lamar Jackson. I want to have the confidence going into the next season that Lamar Jackson isn't part of the problem. He's part of the solution. So I want Lamar Jackson to go out to Cincinnati next week and put up a monster day and the Ravens to win that game. I want them to win games. Now, I'm with you. I don't think they will. If you're saying you got to make a prediction, what's going to happen? Well, here's what I think is going to happen. But I'm never, when they're alive, they get eliminated from the playoff race, I don't want to win another game because I want better draft picks. But while they have a chance, and I absolutely know that you and I would say the same thing about what happened in 2012. When they got their asses handed to them at home by the Denver Broncos, not one of us thought that team was capable of winning a Super Bowl.
No, that's not fair. That's not fair. No, we cannot. See, that's a great example. I love that you brought that up. And first of all, I have no problem with you taking that take and how a fan, like, I have no problem at all. I'm weird, Glenn. I'm weird. No, there's no doubt about it.
We agree.
There's a bunch of pain inside me that I honestly, I'm done. But let me just get to that example of the 2012 team. You're correct. They were so bad after that Broncos game. You felt there's no way they could do that in the playoffs. I know there was talk about that, but we never quit. But hold on. They made a change. They made a coordinator change, Glenn.
They made a coordinator change 100%. They absolutely made a coordinator change.
That was a huge difference in they also
and their quarterback was just flatly better. Like was flatly better for the weeks to follow.
But also they changed left tackle.
Yeah, they was a dramatic 100%. They made dramatic changes that played a role. And I think you're right, Ron. I think you are. I don't think this team is as good as that team. I don't think they can do it. But until I know they can't, I just don't.
Fair.
I can't fathom rooting against the team. That part.
That's fair. That's fair. And so what you're doing is you want to say in a month, Ron, call me.
Yes.
Take the same position.
And we're gonna.
That's fine. But I'm off of work today, Glenn. I'm off of work. I have time today to finish this. You want to wait 4 weeks and have this call, and then he's gonna retire, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And it's not just John Harbaugh. They have other. I understand there's problems, Glenn.
Yep.
But what I'm saying to you is I was off today, and after that awful loss against Tomlin at home, to do it to them, I wanted to get some revenge because he has hurt me in so many big games.
I get it.
That's where I'm at. But I love you.
All right, Ron, I love you too. Let's talk again soon. All right, buddy.
Peace.
Tell Ron I need him to get in. I need you to text Ron and say he's got to get into the bowl contest. He's got to do that. He needs to step up for us. I need him to get in our bowl pick'em. Tell him it's charity. He's not in yet, and he's somebody I need to call out for that. He's not in yet. Everybody in our orbit, I need you in. A whole deal. And Ron knows I love him. I do. It's a weird. There's lots of people that I disagree with on the internet that I love anyway. Some people whose existence is to fight with me on the internet. And I love them anyway. Like, there's our friend Antonio last week and I were going at it. I'm like, Antonio, this is weird. You're being weird. Love you. But you're being weird. Not Antonio from Rosedale. It's a different Antonio. Antonio that I only know through Twitter, frankly. I'm like, Antonio, this is weird. You're being an internet weirdo, and I'm trying to have a conversation with you. That's all I'm doing. I understand all of it. I'm telling you, I don't think the Ravens are going to make the playoffs. That's my opinion. But if you said to me, what's the percentage chance they win in Cincinnati next week? My number would be like 42. Like, I don't think they will, but I think it's plausible that they do. Because I don't think highly of the Bengals still. I still think it's possible that you can go score points against the Bengals. Will they? Again, given the way the offense is played, it's hard for me to have confidence in that. But I think it's possible. So we'll do all of it. I'm just not going to root against I cannot until it's done. If in 2 weeks the Ravens have lost 2 more games and they're eliminated, then I will join you. Last 2 weeks of the season, nothing good comes from winning. Obviously, at that point, I wouldn't want to play Lamar anyway. Like, the moment they're eliminated, don't put Lamar back out on the field. But I would much rather, somehow, some way, The positive signs that we saw in the second half yesterday translate the next week, and in 3 weeks we're like, holy crap, that guy looks like Lamar Jackson again. Because that's best for business. The best possible scenario is Lamar Jackson looks like Lamar Jackson, and we feel good about ourselves again. And for those of you that say, well, yeah, but that might mean that John Harbaugh doesn't get fired. Our priorities, man. If you're telling me in one scenario, Lamar Jackson looks bad for 3 more weeks, the Ravens are eliminated, but they get a new coach, this I guess would be a would you rather Wednesday scenario.
Matt, we're brainstorming now.
Or Lamar Jackson looks like Lamar Jackson, and the Ravens have a chance. I will live with that. I understand why you have your opinions. I get it. I just cannot prioritize that over the Ravens winning. And the central part of this, Lamar Jackson, that I can't ever subscribe to it. Championship weekend has come and gone in high school football. If you missed any of the results from down in Annapolis this weekend, head over to countysports.zone. You can find them there. 6 state champions, all crowned. Figure out what their path was, how they did it, how the title games went down, and start looking at there have already been some major early season private school basketball matchups as we move into winter sports season. Countysports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. We'll come back in. We will go over the weekend in picks. I would rather not.
I would rather.
Yeah, and we will go over slaps to the helmet. That's next. Glenn Clark Radio. Get in the game with Volo Sports. With over 15 sports to choose from, join a league or grab a Volo membership for discounted play, free daily pickups, fitness classes, and exclusive events. But the best part? A portion of every league fee helps the Volo Kids Foundation provide free sports to over 5,000 kids across Baltimore City each year. Don't miss out. Early pricing for the winter season ends December 12th. Final registration deadline is January 15th. Sign up now at volosports.com/Baltimore.
Get ready to hit the ultimate holiday jackpot at Live Casino during the live action $1 million giveaway. Every Friday through December 26th, we'll draw 25 lucky cash winners, but only one winner each Friday will advance to the final rounds on December 26th, where you could win $1 million in just 3 spins. Come make your million, only at Live Casino. At Erndale Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, costasin.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Looking for Baltimore's premier waterfront dining experience? Head to Nick's Fish House, located in the Baltimore Peninsula. Enjoy crabs all year long, plus happy hour Monday through Thursday from 3 to 6. Planning a celebration? From rehearsal dinners to corporate crab feasts, Nick's is the spot to make it unforgettable. And the fun doesn't stop there. Live music fills the air every Thursday through Sunday. Check out the full lineup at nicksfishhouse.com. Nick's, it's where Baltimore comes to eat, drink, and play by the water.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Monday edition of the program. I realize I never tweeted about slaps to the helmet today. That's my fault. That's on me. Completely, totally on me. I don't know why I didn't. If you want to get yours in, you still can, and I'll hook you up with a shirt. It might improve your chances since I didn't tweet about it. My fault. Utterly and completely my fault. And I guess I could do it now, but whatever. Nobody's having fun. But if you want to get yours in at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter or Blue Sky, to go right ahead and might improve your chances of winning the Flock Yeah T-shirt today. Let's do the picks recap. Hello? Are you getting a virus over there?
I literally am.
That doesn't seem good.
I don't even know what.
That doesn't seem like a good thing.
It's not. It's not a good thing.
Are we still on the air?
Yeah. Why?
I don't know. Suddenly the side of the screen, like John's comments,
Are now
gone.
top. Yeah, I don't know why they sometimes. Oh, it's because I had to update the title and so for some reason it recycles the comments.
Okay.
Wow, I don't know what the heck happened.
That was really weird over there, man. I don't know what's going on.
No, I got a virus though. Yeah.
That's not good.
It's not.
I don't want that. I don't want that. Does that affect us?
Well.
All right. That's not a no.
Hold on.
It's not a no. All right. Let's just go over picks.
That's okay.
Picks recap.
Down to 2 computers.
Are we still on the air?
Yes.
Okay. Let's keep going. Is this all right? Never mind. Picks recap. Brought to you today by it's brought to you by the Stan the Fan Variety Hour. No shows this week unless, like, as necessary, Stan and Luke are going to get together to react to what may or may not happen as the winter meetings are underway. Dude, look. Jeff Kent getting into the Hall of Fame.
I think we should go to Cooperstown this summer.
Fine. Like, if you only look at it in a vacuum, fine. It's an effing joke.
What? Who do you get it over?
The most charitable thing to say is maybe Jeff Kent did not use steroids. He definitely was someone who was very vocal. Vocally, he was anti-steroid, as everybody likes to remind you. Of course, remember, Rafael Palmeiro once wagged his finger in front of Congress while he was using steroids. So spare me Jeff Kent says he never used steroids. It's really hard to not look at the type of player he was and then the type of player he became and not think, particularly when he was in the Bay Area, the home of steroids.
Bay Area is the home of steroids?
Literally where Balco was.
Okay.
And not believe it. But let's just say, and they're keeping other guys out of the Hall of Fame on mere suspicion. It's not just guys that admitted to it or failed a test. It's like guys that are being kept out on mere suspicion of steroids. But let's just say you take Jeff Kent at his word that he didn't use steroids. Fine. The only other argument would be that could explain how dramatically he changed as a baseball player was that Barry Bonds was the greatest protector in the history of a lineup.
So he's Scottie Pippen, so what?
And changed the way that pitchers had to pitch to Jeff Kent. Okay. Again, I'll listen to that charitable argument. But you know what that means? It means that, the guy who was maybe the greatest protector in the history of baseball should probably be in the Hall of Fame. Probably should get in before the guy he single-handedly carried into the Hall of Fame. As Griffin's showing me right now, this 15-person panel, apparently 14 of them voted for Jeff Kent, which is wild to me, Jack.
Well, Jeff Kent, we know is a Hall of Famer.
That sounds like some serious group think. Like there's no way that 14 different people all shared that opinion about Jeff Kent. Like, that sounds like they all had a conversation ahead of time, like, who do we want to make sure we get in? And they were like, let's try to get Jeff Kent in. A lot of people thought that this might be the time for either Don Mattingly or Dale Murphy. Neither of them came close, and obviously the guys that are the most deserving of the Hall of Fame in the group, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Gary Sheffield, didn't even get within shouting distance. Believe it or not, despite Donald Trump really going to bat for Roger Clemens. I'm stunned that wasn't enough to get him in. We're shouting at clouds. This is just the way it is. The Hall of Famers don't want those guys in, and it seems like everybody involved is protecting the Hall of Famers' wishes here. But we can't pretend like it isn't comical. You can get in if you were a steroid user, but not if you were really good in a steroid user. You're allowed to be in. The Hall of Fame will let you in if you use steroids. That's fine, as long as you weren't
the greatest
the best players that use steroids. If you were really good but not the best, it's okay that you use steroids. And they all deserve this. I don't feel bad. I'm not apologizing. It's absolute bullshit that if you're going to yell and scream and say this guy can't be in, that David Ortiz got in. It's bullshit, period. There's no defense of it. There's none of it. It is as hypocritical gets. Period. And so it's laughable. I can't. Whatever, man. Like, this is what you choose. I can't pretend like it's not laughable. It's laughable. Congratulations to Jeff Kent, Baseball Hall of Famer. Sure, man. All right, yeah. If the Orioles do something, if something significant happens, Stan and Luke will be getting together this week at facebook.com/PressBoxSports to react to it. And, of course, all of Stan's shows are brought to you by the Costas Inn and the new Costas Inn in Timonium, a great place to host your holiday parties. All right. As far as picks are concerned, 3 college games. Griffin got all 3. Griffin had a great week. Griffin went 8-1. He had the best week of his career.
The problem is...
So did Ken Zales, by the way.
Problem is, Marab lost on Saturday night.
Oh,
so it really wasn't a good week at all for me.
It really wasn't a good week at all for me. Some dollars went the other way. Texas Tech, they did exactly what they did the last time to BYU. When BYU went down, scored first, I'm like, you see? Times they are a-changing, man. Times that was not the case. They did nothing the rest of the game. I mean, they didn't even look like they were capable of doing anything the rest of the game.
And what did I tell you?
Like,
BYU doesn't deserve to be in this play.
I was buying in on Bear Brockmeyer for a minute. I was like, and then that guy didn't look like he could play the position after that point. It was wild. So, yeah, and Texas Tech hammers BYU. A few of us were on BYU, Kyle, myself. Jeremy and James got that one wrong. Kind of a similar story. Like, it was closer for a little bit longer between Georgia and Alabama, but Georgia was the hammer. Alabama was the nail. We'll get back to that in a second. Myself, the history between Alabama and Georgia was the only reason why I went with Alabama, and regret that. Myself, Andrew, Jeremy, John in Little Rock, Ken, Kyle, and Ryan were all on Alabama there. And, boy, Ohio State really shot themselves. We can talk about and give all the credit in the world to Indiana's defense, and we should, but, like, boy, Ohio State, Ryan Day, they go in and win another championship, then nobody's going to care. But, like, the incongruency of we're gonna kick a field goal here after we went for it before. Obviously, it doesn't mean that, like, there's no world where you think your kicker's going to miss, what was that, like a 27-yard kick?
Yeah, I mean, it was a chip shot.
I mean,
maybe it was 28.
It's insane how that – I mean, it was insane. That's the type of thing that makes you wonder about point shaving. Like, you can't help it. You're like, yeah.
No, you're not wondering.
Yeah.
Because the kicker missed it?
That short of a kick?
I mean, I think it's just a college kicker.
I understand that argument. I understand. But it's almost impossible to miss that kick.
Would you have made it?
I'm trying to think if I could make it.
If you were the college game day,
right. What's the longest distance kick that I could make? Probably just 20 yards. Probably that's about all I could
get it up just. Could you even get it 10 feet in the air?
Yeah, I could. we do this sometimes in the backyard with my son. I think I got a 20-yarder in me. I think I do. I might even have a 25-yarder in me. Maybe. But I don't think.
Are you sure you wouldn't be the kicker? Who was it? The Giants?
Oh no,
the
this is
Giants
the problem.
kicker that
if it was one
slammed his foot into the turf.
Right.
before hitting
Well, I wouldn't do that. If it was one kick to rule them all, I have no idea if I would make it or not. I'm capable of making it. I don't know if I would make it in that.
You're saying on 9 or 10 tries, you're
yes,
definitely
1,000% gonna get one. But yeah, Ohio State ends up losing to Indiana. I'm writing today for Pressbox about those of you that are trying to use Curt Cignetti to justify your argument for why Mike Locksley should be fired, and like.
It will require Curt Cignetti to be
as I've said a million times, yes. If Curt Cignetti just likes a challenge, if he just gets off on like, you don't believe I can do it,
Google me.
By all means. Love you, gone. But it's just there's this argument. You're not giving enough credit to how insane this is. This is a once-in-a-lifetime. This is the greatest coaching job in the history of coaching, which, to be fair, still hasn't led to a bowl win yet. Like he still has to do that. And yet, without that, it's still already the greatest coaching job in the history of coaching. It's not just, well, go hire anybody and they could just be the next Curt Cignetti. There's only one. That's it. This is one of one. Which doesn't... Like, that doesn't mean there isn't something to your argument about Mike Locksley. It's just not this. Well, just go get your own Curt Cignetti. No, they don't exist. Which doesn't mean that somebody that didn't get hired in this process might not prove to be a great coach. But again, most of them, all of the guys you would have wanted took jobs better than Maryland. Like, all of them. You'd just be, as we said a million times, taking some lottery ticket on some...
Including Brian Hartline?
I'm mildly interested in Brian Hartline, mildly. But, like, you know, it's not a slam dunk. It's not a – I have no idea. All right, anyway, moral of the story is Ohio State. I was on Ohio State. Andrew Stecca was on Ohio State. James, Joe, John and Little Rock, and Kyle Ottenheimer were all on Ohio. Kyle, the first time he ever picks Ohio State. First time ever.
First and last.
Now, because we're talking about college football, quickly.
Should I start a timer?
Yeah, right. No, Notre Dame did not get screwed. No one got screwed. This is the way it works. When there's a 12-team playoff and you miss out, that's on you, man. That's not on the system. That's on you. Notre Dame did not get screwed. Do I think that they should have gotten in over Alabama? I think there's a strong argument for that. I think there's a strong argument that Alabama should have been in the team left out.
The problem is there's two group of fives.
I'm still a little surprised by that, only because of the payouts. It's allowing the Sun Belt to get $4 million that could have, I absolutely could have seen that committee all get together and say, we need to start talking about strength of victory for Duke versus James Madison. We got to start talking about this because we don't want to give $4 million to the Sun Belt. And you could make a James Madison didn't win a good game this year. Like, I think they deserve to be in. Like, I do think that.
I mean, given the rules, yeah.
They deserve to be in. But, like, are they definitely better than Duke? I don't know that at all. I don't know what would. And I would almost say I would say the evidence that we have would suggest they're not better than Duke. But I don't really have beef with it. There was genuinely a part of me that thought they might come together and say, dude, we're not giving $4 million to the Sun Belt. That's a lot of money. We're keeping it for our partners. Sorry. But the easiest thing to do is the one that isn't really a league partner is Notre Dame. And they were always going to put an ACC team in. They're not. The ACC, while it's a mid-league, it's essentially a group of 5 league at this point, like the Big 12. The truth is, they're still a major partner. There's still a lot of television dollars involved. ESPN is a major partner. Like, they own the ACC network, and they're the television partner of the college football playoff. They were never leaving the ACC out. And a week ago, we all were up in arms about the fact that Notre Dame was ranked over Miami, despite the fact that, we had a game that...
Yeah, but Notre Dame should have won that.
The two teams played against each other. Well, it was a long time ago. I don't know if you remember that. Those games don't count. Only the games more recently count. No one got screwed. Notre Dame didn't get screwed. I mean, they didn't. This is also the path they choose. They choose the path of not having the option of winning a league to get in. That's their choice. Now they've got, I mean, their athletic director's going war on the ACC right now. Like, I can't believe you are openly campaigning against us when we're kind of a member. Kind of. Now, it might be better for the ACC, or for the Notre Dame to stop scheduling ACC games and schedule better games. Like, it didn't really help them.
They did. I think what it does, I think what happened is allowing Tulane and JMU to get in is that now it discourages Texas and Notre Dame to not play those Week 1 games. Like Texas has that loss to Ohio State, and that's
Texas would never have gotten in this scenario.
I know, but like,
you have to win
they're
your
right
league.
Up there. They're right up there. They were the 12th or 13th team or whatever.
I
right?
understand that, but the argument wasn't between that. It was between they guarantee 4 spots for league winners. The only league winner argument is Duke.
I'm saying that I think the 12-team format is discouraging these.
But that's not that. There's you can have the argument about comparing Texas to somebody else, but Texas can't get in this scenario. They can't. Like, they can't use. Well, this is why we're not going to schedule anybody. Well, it's not because of James Madison. James Madison have nothing to do with that.
I know. I'm not mad at James Madison. I'm mad at the format. I'm saying the format is the issue.
So what's the format that's better?
I don't know. Probably 14 or 16 teams.
Well, they're going to keep adding teams to it. What really happens from Notre Dame bowing out of a bowl game?
If you want to have a conference champion, because I mean, I think it is good to allow these group of 5 teams, but
everyone
the problem is
should go
Tulane and JMU weren't very good this year.
Right, but Duke sucked. It's
Okay.
not James Madison's fault that Duke sucked. Like, we're doing this like they didn't want to put 2 group of 5 teams in. The ACC produced a shit champion. If Virginia wins on Saturday night, then James Madison's not in. Like, this is not. Texas didn't get kept out by putting another group of 5 team in.
Yeah, I know Texas was out before this weekend. Yeah. I'm saying, but I think you kind of want Texas and Notre Dame to be in this tournament, though, don't you? Like,
I don't care. I really don't care.
2 of the best 12 teams.
There's
in the
4
league,
really good teams this year, and everybody else is meh. Like, 4 teams really deserve to be in the playoff. We know who they are. They're the top 4 seeds.
I mean, Oregon had 1 loss, and
A&M
had 1
the
loss.
The best argument you can make is for those teams, right? But, like,
Ole Miss, if they had a coach, deserved to be in.
Ole Miss didn't. I mean, who did they really beat during the course of the year? This is
Florida, Kentucky,
some
Missouri.
of this is what happens when you have 20 teams in a league,
and
you can build a schedule where you don't really have to play anybody. In fact, you could make.
They lost to Georgia by 6 or 8 or something.
Right. Yeah, that's where you start making. Well, we had good losses. That's why we deserve to be
Athens.
in. Yeah. Like, this is the math ends up becoming like, I don't feel bad for any of those teams. I don't.
They beat Tulane. That's a big one.
They do have that going for them. And if they do it again, then they'll be in the round of 8.
I don't want to see Tulane and JMU lose by a combined 80 against.
Well, you're not going to be watching
Oregon
those games. This is the other part that nobody gets. They purposely put both of those teams in the TNT games that are up. It's also
the NFL games.
It's also part of the reason why they probably didn't feel compelled to have to put Duke in, is because they knew they had the 2 TNT games that are up against NFL games that are going to get bloodbath in the ratings anyway. So who cares? Just go ahead and put Tulane and James Madison in those games, and then you're good. Like, that's the reality of the way this was going to go. You're not going to be watching Ole Miss Tulane. I don't even know what the NFL game is that's going on right then, but I promise you're going to be watching
the Commanders were in one of them, weren't they?
No, okay, then maybe you might be. All right, I take it back. Or at least you might be flipping. I don't remember. It's the 20th, right? December 20th is the date. I don't remember what the NFL game is.
I'm pulling it up.
God damn it.
One of them's really good. The other one, I think, was not so good.
I did say really quick, didn't I? Notre Dame didn't get screwed. They didn't get screwed.
Philly at Washington at 5 o'clock, and then Green Bay at Chicago.
That's a really good
at
game.
8 o'clock,
potentially. I don't remember which one of the college games is at what time. Nobody got screwed.
Yeah, but you're right. The good one's at noon, like the
that,
one between 2 real teams.
They did it purposely that way. They purposely did it that way. It's why ESPN sold those 2 games to TNT, because they knew they were going to take a bloodbath on those 2 games, and they didn't want them to count against their ratings. They want to be able to say, look at our ratings for the college football playoff, and they don't want those 2 games weighing it down.
Well, I hope it's the JMU game that's at 4 o'clock then, because I would rather watch JMU, because I don't think Tulane's good at all.
mean, they looked pretty good on Friday night.
Did they?
They did.
They did. They needed like some. They fumbled at the goal
that
line on one of them.
yeah.
That was a great play by Westamaker. I don't know. I'm not excited to see Tulane in the playoff again because it probably should have been Navy playing in that game anyway.
There you go. That's the real problem. You're just mad about that. Look, man, this means there's going to have to be change. They've been trying to get a 30-team playoff for years. They want more playoff games. What?
JMU Oregon's the nightcap.
Oh, no. They want more playoff games and less meaningless bowl games because they want more players to play in the bowl games. Now, they got to figure that out because right now the first-round playoff games aren't bowl games. But I do think that's going to change. Like, as the thing expands, I think they're going to let the Alamo Bowl be a playoff game. I think they're going
to
let.
Wants to play in the Alamo Bowl.
That's the problem. The Pop-Tart Bowl. That they're going to have to, because those are very meaningful for like tourist revenue for those cities, and for the broadcasts. Like, it's the only game to watch, so they do want to keep lifting those games up. So I do think that like they're going to expand, and I think they're just going to try to find a way to make that December 20th. That week be, again, the Alamo Bowl, the Texas Bowl, the Cheez-It Bowl, those types of bowl games will end up being those first-round games. I think they'll definitely get – 16 will definitely – although it's not coming next year because they weren't able to agree to it. 16 is definitely happening.
Our president gets stuff done, though. So
that's a great point.
He may step in.
Got Roger Clemens in the Hall of Fame, right? Got Diego Pavia wanted him to put Vanderbilt in the playoff, right? He got that guy.
And I don't know. There's an argument for that, though. I'd rather watch Vanderbilt play Oregon than – JMU.
That argument is horrendous. That's horrendous. It's a horrendous argument. Everybody involved. This is so you don't want to have a college basketball tournament anymore.
No, I do want to have that.
Every team in the country should have the right to play for a national championship.
Which is why I think it's right that you have a group of 5 champion in. But I think that's why you need to add 1 or 2 more spots in this thing.
To completely different in that scenario that you're talking about, you're still going to have James Madison playing somebody, which is what we should want.
I know, but we
should want.
But then I
frankly,
think Indiana should earn that, So then Indiana gets to play JMU, and that's if JMU wants to try to win this thing, they got to go through Indiana.
I have no problem with that. We're not going to go war against the group of 5 teams and say I don't want to see that. Like the sport shouldn't exist if not everyone who's playing it has the chance to win a national championship. Everybody should have that chance. It's why we like the college basketball tournament. We know that Western Carolina is not winning the national championship.
You do not know that.
But they could. That's the point. Everyone goes into the season
knowing St. Peter's made the Elite Eight.
They can. It happened. George Mason made a Final Four. We all remember all these things. Like, that's the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to have everybody have a chance. So spare me with going war against the group of 5 teams. They're not the problem here. You want more of those middling teams, fine. Put them all in. I don't feel bad for them. I don't think their resume this season says they absolutely are being robbed by not being in the tournament. They choose. Like, this is sort of what happened. Like, everybody's mad that they created these super conferences, and now they're like, and now we don't even have all of our teams in. I'm like, you decided to do that, dog. Like, that's not on us. You did it. And Notre Dame, you want to guarantee your spot in the playoff? Win the ACC. If Notre Dame,
that's what's going to have to. I mean, they either join a conference,
apparently,
or they don't play Miami and Texas A&M week 1.
They also wrote into there's like a new rule going into the college football playoff next year that like if Notre Dame is ranked in the top.
I did see,
11, they have to be in or something like that, which also, you could just bump them to 12. And, like, their real argument is about the playoff shows. And it's bogus that we were told that we were in and then suddenly we weren't in. Like, if the answer to this is get rid of the college football playoff shows, I'm fine with that. I've never watched
from whatever that guy's name is.
Hunter
Vanacek or
something.
Hunter Vanacek.
Yeah, right. The guy
he's related to Gary Vee, I think.
Is he?
No, I don't.
He's not even. That's not even his last name.
It starts with a V though, isn't it?
Vanacek.
Vanacek.
I think it starts with a Y.
Oh yeah.
I think it does. Get rid of the shows by all means. I have no problem with that. And by the way, they can't say what the truth is. The truth is, honest to God, if Virginia wins on Saturday night, they're not putting Miami in. They're putting Miami in because they weren't leaving the ACC out of the playoff. They weren't doing it. That was never happening in a million years. They were just going to outright leave one of their partner leagues out of the playoff. And they can't say that part out
hilarious
loud.
if they did.
I mean, I guess. But, like, they were never doing that. And they can't just say that. They can't say, Miami's in because we had to put them in. Because we have to have an ACC team in. And so, you know, you're mad at us, but really be mad at Virginia. Virginia screwed Notre Dame by losing that game. Because if Virginia wins, we don't have to put James Madison in, and then we're going to leave Miami out and put Notre Dame in. Because that's what we told you we were going to do a week ago when we thought Virginia would just win. But they screwed us, and so now we have to do this, and we have to all of a sudden pretend like we care about the result of this one game that happened months ago that a week ago we didn't care about. And what should the answer be? I don't have it. That's why I don't feel bad for anybody involved. But for me, I would have probably left Alabama out. Like,
you can't do that though, because then you're.
I know
telling
you're saying
teams you can't.
You're
play in
saying the
conference
college championship, but that's fine. I'll live with that.
You can't tell.
I'll live with
the
it.
Championships don't count.
But
though.
it's not just the championship. It's Alabama also lost to the worst team of anybody here.
I know.
Like, that part of this matters.
But somehow they made it to the SEC championship.
I understand.
And that does matter.
Like,
I think it does.
That they made it to the game?
To the SEC championship.
Not,
yeah.
Not when
and,
you
well,
finish,
okay. When
it
they,
doesn't matter.
When they
that you
were
make
ranked
it to the
9th,
game.
if they were ranked 14th and made it to the SEC
This
championship,
is
sure.
Right. To me, if I just looked at these three teams and said, what's the thing that stands out the most? It's that one of you lost to Florida State. And Florida State is garbage. Garbage. Not, like, I get it. Louisville's not great, but they're not Florida State.
I think they won 8 games, yeah.
And what was the other team that Miami lost to? Was it SMU?
Yes. Yeah,
and they're not, again,
at SMU.
Not great, but not as bad as Florida State. So in the end, that would be, to me, the biggest reason why I would have said I would have left Alabama out in the process. It's because one of these three teams lost to Florida State. But that's me. And I don't think that anybody got robbed at all. Like, this is just us screaming as we think we're supposed to scream about it. You want to get rid of the shows? Oh, by all means.
I think the shows are great, actually.
Get rid of the show.
Maybe not the Tuesday night one every week, but I'm saying the show that they had at noon yesterday, I think that one is worthy of that.
I'll let you have it, by all means.
Well, I mean, in every little at halftime they were doing the discussion, all throughout the day Saturday, and I thought it was a pretty compelling.
I thought it was
discourse.
I thought it was
because it is like we're gonna have to. They're like, well, JMU won. What if Duke wins tonight? And there's no clear answer. We still don't have an answer. We still don't know what the right thing to do is.
That's the problem. There is no right thing to do. Somebody's going to be left out. And then next year we're going to argue about the 15th team. We're going to argue. We're going to scream and argue. No, it's what we do every year. We'll always scream and argue about someone.
Vandy wasn't good enough to be
in that year.
Vandy would have been the one team left out.
In that
right?
year, Vanderbilt would be ranked ahead of BYU, and then BYU. Like, there's going to be some bullshit every year. You're not going to solve this problem. It's just what it is. Other than to say, it's fine. Notre Dame lost 2 games and didn't really beat particularly good. They didn't really beat anybody. Like, they beat USC. They beat Navy.
Beat Memphis.
Pitt.
Arkansas.
Yeah, those are their wins.
At Pitt, though, remember?
That's a good point. It was at Pitt. Like, that's not, to me, a team that's being robbed of being in the college football playoff. Their only argument is, well, last week we thought we were in, and this week we thought you told us we weren't. That's it. That's the extent of their argument.
The real argument should be that, well, we have a Heisman finalist. That's why we should be in.
What the hell does that have to do with anything?
Well, because I'd rather watch Jeremiah Love play football than
this is just you.
Tulane.
You're still mad about Tulane. What did they do to you? What bet did you lose on Tulane this year?
Well, just they got in over Navy.
That's a list
in the
of
American Championship. And they're not very good.
Dallas, Detroit on Thursday night. I was finally on Dallas. Shame on me.
Dummy.
I can't go. We had him fly. Indianapolis, Jacksonville, obviously a huge bummer. Most of us were on Jacksonville, but a massive bummer with Daniel Jones. There's,
I started Daniel Jones in like 2 leagues.
I don't feel good for the Colts. I'll never root for the Colts in my life, but there is a human story to it is neat to see someone who has been cast off. It's the Trevor Rogers thing, right? Like, you just like to see human beings that have been written off figure it out and battle adversity. And so
he did go to Duke.
It's true. I don't like Daniel. Nothing about Daniel Jones. I just like the story. That's it. But you hate it. You hate it for him. And I guess at this point, it really does make it seem like there are pretty clearly 3 wild card teams. And short of seeing something wild from Indianapolis the rest of the way, or somebody else suffering a serious injury, it looks like, whoever doesn't win the AFC South between Houston and Jacksonville, and then obviously Buffalo and, whoever doesn't win the AFC West between the Broncos and the Chargers are probably going to end up being your wild cards. Like the Chiefs, and we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, the injury to Daniel Jones seems to clarify the wild card picture in the AFC. I mean, I guess there's some world where Riley Leonard could be the next Tom Brady. But short of that, like, it seems like you got now the AFC North still has to be settled and the division still have to be settled. It's just almost impossible to believe that any of those 6 and 7 teams can jump one of the wild card teams.
Well, Indianapolis. I
No,
mean,
but Indianapolis is the odd man out.
Oh yeah, you're right. Jeez,
they're out.
Yeah, you're right. Oh. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like there are 3. There are 3 teams.
So
and
one
again,
of Baltimore and Kansas City.
Baltimore, Kansas City, and Miami are all sitting at 6 and 7. Right. It would require those. Thank you. It would require those teams to make up. Like if it's Houston, both Baltimore and Kansas City have lost to Houston. So you'd have to make up 3 games, 3 full games in 4 weeks in order to jump Houston. Like, it's just not happening, dog. This is it. The wild card part is only interested in, who doesn't win the division because the AFC West is still up for grabs. I guess Buffalo, they still have a game against New England, right? So, I guess there's some world where Buffalo could still get into the AFC East picture. And the divisions are still compelling. But the wild card,
Yeah, I mean, the Chargers have to win tonight to make it seem close, right?
Yeah, that would be I mean, they would obviously have to win tonight, yes.
They are 4-0 in the AFC West. So, yeah, the Chargers very much in it.
They're in it, but they still have to win. It'd be really hard for them to overcome 2 games with 4 games to play.
That is a tough.
Or 3? Was it 3 games they have to overcome? Where are they?
The Chargers are 8-4. Yeah, so they'd be 9-4 if they beat the Eagles tonight.
Right. So they'd still be within 2 games.
Yeah.
So they'd be 3
and
out. They still have 1 more against the
Correct.
Broncos.
They have a win over the Broncos and 1 more at Denver.
So it's possible if they win tonight. If they lose tonight, yes, the West is essentially over at that point. All right. Anyway, yeah. Sorry, that was all from the Daniel Jones injury. God damn, we're gonna go over 2 hours. I hate you. Cincinnati hangs in there.
I didn't keep Notre Dame out of the playoffs.
Statement cover against Buffalo.
I wanted them in.
Yeah. Only losing by 5. Bless you, boys. Statement cover there.
Christian Benford, big game.
Yeah, huge game for Baltimore's own Christian Benford. With now back-to-back weeks, he'll have a real chance of being AFC Defensive Player of the Week. Yeah, this is the problem with the Bengals is again, we just overreacted to Thanksgiving night and said, well, maybe the defense is fixed. Yeah.
It's just the Ravens were allergic to holding on to the.
That's anytime you think that turnovers are predictive, you're going to be reminded they're not. And you still have to be better in all defensively. And look, Josh Allen played. It was phenomenal yesterday. It was outstanding. So give him credit for that. As Buffalo does win, and Cincinnati still not dead by any stretch of the imagination, because I absolutely am leaning towards the idea that the winner of the AFC North is going to be 8 and 9. And I get it. That means that
since he would have to go 4-0.
Well, and Pittsburgh would have to lose 3 out of 4. They would have to lose to Miami in this scenario. For the winner of the division to be 8 and 9, Pittsburgh has to lose to Miami. But if you're telling me you don't think they could lose to Miami, I think you're nuts. Chicago and Green Bay by the skin of their teeth. The Packers.
I was that close to being a 9-0
week. 9-0 week. Skin of their teeth. Bears driving back down, looking like maybe they're gonna. Nah, it just wasn't meant to be. Packers do hold on in that one. Big game for Christian Watson, which was much needed for me in a couple of places.
I started Romeo Dobbs in one. I don't know if he had a target.
Christian Watson had a couple of touchdowns. That was good news. And then Houston, Kansas City last night. Kansas City definitely into the irreparably broken. And unlike the Ravens, who still have at least a mathematical path in the division, like, it's over for the Chiefs. It's over. Like, I mean, it would really require they would have to win out and the Texans would have to lose out at this point. Like, it's over for the Chiefs. It's done. As they lose at home as favorites against the Texans. And then, obviously, Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Shame on me. Shame on me.
Why'd you pick the Ravens?
The number.
Oh.
The number
the number was wrong?
The number was so dumb.
It was telling you to.
Yeah, you have to pick the Ravens. There's no way that the Ravens should be 6-point favorites. You have to pick them. Normally, that math works 90% of the time. But apparently the Ravens.
Line was only 11 points off. Yeah.
Right. Oh, and by the way, right now the Ravens being favored in Cincinnati screams at you that you have to take the Ravens because that's a dumb line. But that line I still think is going to move. I still think there's going to be movement there before we get to Sunday. Yes, Griffin had the high water mark. Well, tied with KZ.
Yeah,
Both he and KZ went 8-1. KZ, who was power bottom a few weeks ago, now tied for 4th. And 4 games over 500 after an 8-1 week. A huge turnaround for KZ. Griffin moves into the tie at the top of the table with James Revere. John and Little Rock now 4 games back. Stetka and KZ 5 games back. So Stetka in a bit of trouble in his hopes of being able to quit the league. It's not looking great.
Don't worry, guys. I'm holding them off.
Myself and John Proctor are 6 games back. Jeremy 7. Ryan Schell, Joe Serpico 8 games back. Paul Valley 11 games off the pace and only 1 game clear of our power bottom. Kyle Ottenheimer, who sits at 61-71, 12 games off the pace, 1 game up on Paul in the race to be the power bottom in our picks contest. Slaps are brought to you this week by Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, the best place to watch all the big events. Every big fight is inside sports and social at Live Casino and Hotel. 100-foot media wall, just steps away from the FanDuel Sportsbook. Great food and drink specials, and you can make a weekend out of it this holiday season at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. All right, we start with my number 5 for slaps. Remember the rules. 2 must be offensive players, 2 must be defensive players. The 5th can be offense, defense, your choice, whatever you like, special teams. And a lot of guys have some thank yous for the fact that they can't make my list this week. Because it could have been a lot of special teams, guys. My number 5 is Mike Green. No, he wasn't my number 5. Rashad Bateman was my number 5. I just realized I didn't tell you my order. I just told you the guys that I wanted. I grabbed the first one. Yeah, Rashad Bateman is my number 5. Honestly, I debated Voorhees. I actually thought that, Zay Flowers had a huge game, but I actually think he left some plays on the field. But I didn't think that the offensive players were all that bad yesterday. I mean, Lamar, obviously the interception was unacceptable.
It was like each guy had something that was horrible.
And so ultimately, because Rashad Bateman didn't do a lot and had just a massively critical drop. There's no way of getting around that. Massively critical. That ended up being enough for him to be my number 5 and my second offensive player.
I went with Daniel Faalele as my number 5.
He's only number 5 on.
I mean, because everybody, I think the list could be any order. Nothing, because Lamar is still. I just don't even. What did you say?
He should send you a fruit basket.
Faalele should. It's. Because I have it, I think it's I don't know who this is on. I guess it's on the coaching. It's on the players that do handle the ball in their hands and can't hold on to the ball and turn it over and whatever and aren't getting to the quarterback. Because he missed a ton of he missed a ton of blocks. He missed everything. He missed so many blocks. And still Lamar was able to, like, the one that obviously stands out is the one where Patrick Queen blitzes and he just stands there.
The one that stands out is the Eccles sack.
And
he loses leverage against a guy that is a third of his size. He lost leverage against a guy a third of his size. It's unfathomable. He's number 1.
Oh wow, he's number 1 for you? Yeah. Jeez. I just don't think he lost them the game. Them not converting in the red zone cost them the game.
And I think part of the reason
throwing interceptions and drops cost them the game.
They had opportunities to.
Faalele was terrible. Everybody had terrible moments, and Faalele was my number.
The only thing I'll give you is that there was a lot of bad. Just cannot believe that he's only number 5. Marlon Humphrey is my number 4. Look, Nate Wiggins didn't have a better day, and he obviously was pushed off on the first one. Like that. Like, it is the tough part about this because, that's a push off. There's the thing last week.
If last week's was, then that's 100%.
This is way more egregious than last week. It's a push off, but it still goes against him, and he didn't have much more luck as the day went on.
He had a couple more breakups.
He did ultimately make a couple of plays, but
I didn't put him on my list because I didn't put him on my list because the defensive line and 2 guys who are brought in here to sack the quarterback played 80% of the snaps yesterday and couldn't sack a 42-year-old quarterback. So Draymond Jones is my number 4, and Mike Green is my number 3. The edge rushers were terrible. They didn't get any pressure all night. And the Mike Green just missing. That's why Mike Green's my number 3, because he had a sack of Aaron Rodgers and then just didn't finish it. So that's Draymond Jones is 4, Mike Green's number 3 for me. The defensive line, not the edge rush, not getting any pressure and giving Aaron Rodgers so much time the entire day.
Yeah, Mike Green's my number 3. Like the duck, it's unbelievable that you let Aaron Rodgers wiggle out. It's just unbelievable. Mike Green's my number 3, and it's just also there's no more like he's a rookie. It's too deep in the season. And look, you can say, well, he shouldn't be covering downfield as much as he is. Sometimes you have to do that. That's part of playing in the NFL.
T.J. Watt was playing coverage yesterday.
It's an unfair compare. It's T.J. Watt that we're talking about. But you have to do that sometimes, and he can't. It's bad. Mike Green is also my number 3. My number 2 is Chris Horton. And honestly, there's an argument he should be number 1 because the truth is I could do this list with basically anyone who's involved in the special teams unit. It's unfathomable how bad it is. LeJontay Wester doesn't know how to run forward. He has.
Gosh, why did he freeze on the last punt return? I don't understand.
But it's all, and it wouldn't have mattered because Keandre Jackson's committing. And look, DK Metcalf went out there as a gunner and made a difference. Like, I don't want to take anything away from what the other guy did, but that is disastrous in that spot. When you only have 1 timeout left and you have to score a touchdown, you cannot be giving yards away like that. Disastrous. The return game is dreadful. 1 kickoff worked all day and turned into the one that bounced inbounds, and so they only got the touchback out to the 20 because it bounced in the landing zone and then went into the end zone. So that worked out. That's the only one that worked all day. Other than that, every touchback has the opponent starting at the 38-yard line. And your own kick return game never gets you past the 25-yard line. And Tyler Luke missed an extra point on top of it. It was awful in the special teams department. Awful. Like, unfathomably awful. Like what in God's name is going on here? It's not just like the goofy thing we always say, like, I thought the coach was supposed to be a special teams guy. This is what is happening? How does every other team know how to do this in the kickoff game? And no matter how many times you're trying, it's working out once. And I get it. Somebody said, well, Boswell put 1 out of bounds too. Boswell had a much better day on the whole. It's unbelievable how bad the special teams were yesterday. Like, we're going to talk about the offensive line. We're going to talk about the defensive line and how they got their ass kicked in the trenches. They got their asses handed to them in special teams. Chris Horton gets to carry the number 2 spot.
Lamar Jackson is my number 2. Didn't do enough. The interception on that 1 third down early in the game that immediately led to a short field for the Steelers, and they would score a touchdown. And then taking the sack at the very end of the game is the one thing. I mean, they weren't gonna win probably anyway, but you could have a chance for one more play, and instead he gets sacked. He can't get rid of the ball at all, and that's how the game ends. So Lamar Jackson is my number 2, and it's because they also can't, because of who my number 1's going to be. It's because they cannot convert in the red zone, and they haven't been doing it all season. And even when Lamar is back, and even when you feel like you have your guys healthy, they are the 30th ranked red zone offense in the NFL, and it hasn't improved 1 lick the entire season. So Lamar Jackson's my number 2. He's the guy that touches the football every play, and He's not getting much help from other guys because I don't know how you weigh it with the Bateman drop and Andrews in the end zone, whether that ball was intended for DeAndre Hopkins in the back of the end zone or not. Something is, I mean, as Tracy Wolfson said, like something is just off, and I don't know what it is. And I'm looking at the quarterback who whether maybe he's not healthy, maybe the offensive line can't block for him. Either way, they're not being. He's not playing like an MVP, and
well, I don't think he's playing like an MVP.
They're losing football games because of it.
The interception was unfathomable, but everything else yesterday, I couldn't. He wasn't really even much of a consideration for my list.
I mean, he's taking a sack at the end. Maybe he should be yelling at Falele. Like that's.
I don't.
Show some leadership then.
I don't know what he's supposed to do.
Don't turn. I mean, he's got to be perfect.
Like that. They're blaming for the last one. Like they're
as soon as you're getting contact. I mean, know that Alex Highsmith is
but
really
he's not
good.
Definitively out of the pocket at that point, so he can't just chuck the ball away. Like if you want to say
somebody,
just
throw
throw
it to
it
the
in the end
sideline,
zone and risk an interception. Like yeah,
throw it to the sideline.
Sure.
Where there's, I'm sure there was a guy. I didn't see what the full routes were.
Yeah,
like
it's
I mean,
really hard for me to adjust. They're in a bad.
For one more play.
They're in a bad spot. Falele, as I said, is my number one.
Todd Monken is my number one because of the red zone offense. I mean, I don't know. I can't. It was nice to see that they got away from Derrick Henry, and then he did come back and he finishes. A lot of that probably partly due to the fact that Keaton Mitchell got hurt, but he did finish with 25 carries at the end of the day. So it was good to see that. But they still are not converting still not converting. There was a 3rd and 2 from the 5-yard line that they handed the ball off. And Derrick Henry loses 3 yards. Like I don't know what the thought process was there, but whether that's on the quarterback, whether that's on the offensive coordinator, whether I don't know who that
everything about that play
on.
Looked wrong. I mean, like as we've talked about, and it just looked like they had no idea what was going on before the play, and they needed.
And then Voorhees lined up illegally on that play anyway. Like that play was a dud from the start.
Yep.
This was the possession right before. This was the turn. They ended up turning it over on downs. It's ironic because since they get the ball back almost immediately, they could have taken a field goal and then only need a field goal at the end. But going forward on 4th down was the right call, and they didn't have a winning play. That was I wanted before we talked to Brian Billick, I thought Todd Monken should be fired today because something's got to happen. Something's got to happen, and I don't know what's going to change. I don't know. And nothing seems like they're not going to change anything because we've singled out the offensive line all year. We've talked about the red zone offense all year.
I hear you.
John Harbaugh's called out the offense all year.
I've heard it,
and nothing's changed. So
all of the above.
Todd Monken's my number one.
All right, there you go. We'll get them up at GlennClarkRadio.com a little bit later on. Tidbit and Tubular combined, brought to you by the print issue of Press Box. Final day is for this one with Jim Smith on the cover. You get it at your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores, and then it'll be replaced by our annual Best of issue, which is just about a week away from hitting newsstands. Here's what's coming up, or Tidbit. You want to? Is Tidbit really good? Can we do a very quick? It's got to be quick. It's 106.
Steelers have won. This comes from Scott Kazmar, I think. Is this how you pronounce his name? He's an NFL writer. Steelers have won 3 games in the since World War II,
where they
were outrushed by 170 yards. All 3 have happened in the last 5 years against in Baltimore against the Ravens.
Cool.
So yeah.
Cool. Everything else we're saving?
Yeah, fine. Right. Shedeur Sanders, first Browns quarterback to have 350 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and a rush touchdown in one game. So I think they have their guy.
Okay. All right. There you go. We'll see. Hopefully they beat the Steelers. I'd be in favor of it. Here's what's coming up tubular-wise. Eagles-Chargers, 8:15 on ESPN and ABC. And, of course, on ESPN2 and Disney Plus. Makes all the sense in the world for a game that kicks off after 8:15. They're doing the Monsters University broadcast for the kids.
It's called the Fun Day, right?
Yeah.
What is it?
Monsters Fun Day Football. Fun Day Football is what they're calling it.
Fun Day Night Football?
Yeah. All well and good. No beef with it. Monday night game, maybe not the time for that. The one that the kids are all going to be in bed for. Maybe
kids get to stay up until like 8:45, 9
so
o'clock.
They can see a couple of minutes of the Monsters thing.
Who's doing that? Is that Orlovsky?
I have no idea who's involved with it. I couldn't possibly tell you. It's just kind of objectively hilarious that they're doing it for a Monday night game. Like I'm all for trying to get more. Like they do the SpongeBob thing for the playoffs. All good. Do all that stuff that you want to do. It just seems like it should be a game that kids can actually watch. That would be my suggestion. Everything else, go to GlennClarkRadio.com and find it there sports-wise. That's the only thing going on is Monday Night Football. Anything non-sports?
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't find like a quick trailer for it, but there's a Paramount Plus documentary, Paramount Plus documentary called Predators, and it actually looks pretty good. So it dives into the unnerving investigation of To Catch a Predator, peeling back the curtain of the show's complicated legacy. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So they talked to Scott Hansen. Is that his name? Yeah, Chris Hansen. And like what happened after the camera shut off and how they were they did to the Predators afterwards.
This is something I'd be interested in. I'd be interested.
Yeah, so that's on Paramount Plus. That interested me as well. Series finale of Bel Air on Peacock.
Not quite as much.
Perfect timing. Season 2 of Here Come the Irish as well on Peacock.
Can't wait for that. Proctor suggests that when we do our World Cup pool next summer, we do PKs to determine draft order.
Oh, so we all get together.
But we don't really do a draft. Why don't we do a randomizer?
Because we got to have John do the odds-based selections.
I guess maybe we could do we have a group of teams and you can just pick your number, but it's still a guess. I'm not opposed.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, if you really want the U.S., which you shouldn't, you get to pick the U.S. if you win.
All right. Yeah, that's it. We did a long show today. Everything else on GlennClarkRadio.com. Thanks to Tracy Wolfson. Thanks to Brian Billick. We'll get that up in the greatest hits section of the
Sabrina Carpenter and Josh O'Connor on Seth Meyers tonight.
Tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Tomorrow on the program, Joe Serpico, Bo Smolka.
Steve Weiss is going to join us.
NFL Network.
Yes.
All right.
As is Marvin Lewis.
Oh, boy. A lot going on.
Yeah, it is going to be a busy day.
Another
2-hour show, guys.
Not doing
2-hour
shows every day. Don't have time this week. Fill the freaking bracket or bowl pick 'em. Fill it. Thank you to a few of you who have gotten in already. Love you. Fill it. Fill it. For God's sakes, fill it. Glenn-Clark on Venmo. Glenn Clark 180 on PayPal. Glenn Clark Radio on Cash App. I'm going to do this every day until it's filled. John Proctor got in today. Thank you. Good
Ron
man.
is in. Ron
Owings Mills is in. Excellent. Did he send to you?
He's going to send to one of us.
All right. You got to stay on that.
I know. No. He's about to. All right. We were doing a show, so I was like, all
right. Kind of. Fill it up. 50 spots, then we're good, and I'll stop screaming. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Volo Sports, Nick's Fish House, CountySports.zone, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com, your Baltimore area High's Dairy Stores, Costas Inn, and Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Monday evening. Go nobody. Duke sucks.